Hey, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Your announcer, as you guys know, if you've been watching, I'm recovering from a complete knee replacement 4 weeks ago this week. And I actually drove my car today. It was really great not to have to rely on anybody. It's hard getting in and out of the cars and, of course, bringing the groceries in because, I'm walking with a cane and very, very slowly. But I drove a car today. This was a huge improvement, so I didn't have to rely on people. It's so nice. So I could actually go. I didn't go far. I went my grocery store 5 minutes away, and then of course my dispensary, which is 5 minutes away. So I'm a little more up. I hope that I do a good show for you guys today. So yes, the Bears. Let's talk about the Bears. We don't need to talk about me. So the Bears have won 2 in a row. We know that they are 5-8. And they are going to play Cleveland Browns in Cleveland this Sunday. And the Browns are 8-5. So, we'll talk about them. The Bears and the Browns have played 17 times. The Browns are winning by 10. They've won 10 games, and the Bears have won 7. This is, so, the Browns quarterback is out. And I'm glad because I didn't want to have to play him. I'm not a Watson fan. I think that he got away with a lot and he shouldn't have. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But so let's do a little comparison, what I usually do before the games, and then we'll kind of talk about it a little bit. But the Bears, their numbers haven't really improved a lot except for on defense. So on the pass right now, they're beating us, but not by a lot. So the Bears are averaging 186.2 passing yards a game. That puts them 26th in the league. The Browns are averaging 195 yards and passing, and that puts them 23rd. So we're basically in the same category as them, as well as the rush. The Bears are averaging 138 yards a game, which is just awesome. Excuse me, and that puts them 4th in the league. And then the Browns have got a good running attack as well. They're averaging 131 yards a game, and that puts them 7th in the league. So we're right there. But the Bears' rush has just been solid all year. And that has just really helped the defense a lot, especially these last few games. It's helping Fields. It's helping the offensive line. Offensive linemen love to block for running backs. That's their favorite thing. And our running backs are delivering, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Points scored. We're still not scoring a whole ton a lot, but we've moved up a little bit. They're scoring an average of 20.8 a game. That puts them 20th in the league, the Bears. Cleveland is scoring 22.2 a game points. That puts them 12th. Points allowed by the defense, we're giving up an average of 23.8 points a game. That puts us at 23. Cleveland, better than that. They're giving up 20 points a game, and that puts them 14th. They've got a very, very good defense. The Browns, Myles Garrett is on that team, and they just got a lot of good players. So this is definitely going to be a challenge for the Bears and Fields and the defense. We've played some pretty good games. We had a great game last week. Phenomenal. If you saw my show, we won every category in that game. And beating a good team like Detroit helps it because the teams we have won this year have not been very good. So they've been kind of like on our level. But the Detroit game, that puts us on another level. We're not way up here yet. We went up a level by beating a team that was 9-3 going into that game. And the Bears played really well. And when I said last week on my show was every player on that Bears team, defense, offense, special teams, every player has to play 100% their best game individually for the Bears to compete and win each week, and that's got to happen again. Now, Cleveland, the starter, which he has played 2 games, is Joe Flacco. If you know, Joe was with the Atlanta Falcons for a really long time, and then he was let go a couple years ago, and I believe he went to Indianapolis? No, I don't remember where he went, but it didn't work out. And then he was just sitting around at home, and Cleveland called him when they lost their quarterback, Watson. So Joe is back on the field, and he's had a couple good games. So you can never underestimate this guy. He's been around a long time. So he so I didn't usually I compare the two quarterbacks. There's really no point in comparing them. I'm just going to go over Justin where he's at right now. But you can't really compare Joe because he's only played a couple games, right? So Fields has played 9 games so far this year, and he's got. Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm being a little crazy with the microphone here. So Fields has played 9 games, and he's got 1,810 yards passing. That's coming up with 13 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, which is a good ratio. He's been sacked, though, 32 times. Yeah, 32. You heard it. And the Bears, and he's rushed for 458 yards, and he has got 2 rushing touchdowns. Now, on these 32 sacks that Fields has got, I would say, just off the top of my head, at least 10 to 12 of those sacks are on Fields himself for not either avoiding the line from collapsing when he could have. He doesn't know how to escape the line when it starts to collapse. He's really not good at that. And he doesn't make decisions quick enough. That's why there's 32 sacks, because he stands back there and stands back there and stands back there. He wants his receivers to be wide open, and it's just not going to happen, Justin. You're going to have to learn to get it in there. And I would say 10 to 12 of those sacks are on him, holding on the ball too long, not making a decision, then deciding to run in too late. So I'm just not going to give those all to the offensive line, because that's something Justin really, really, really has to work on, along with a few other things. But we've seen some improvement the last couple weeks. So let's talk about our rushing. Again, our rushing has been solid. I'm really proud of all these guys. I'm so glad that we got Foreman in the offseason. He's been a huge added to this team. He's been huge for us. He's leading the guys in rushing, and he missed 1 game for sure, and he wasn't active in all these games early on the season. I should have looked to see how many games. I really wish I would have looked to see how many games he's played, but I know he has not started. I know he sat out, that game hurt. I want to say he's only played like 8 or 9 games starting, and he's got 432 yards rushing with 4 touchdowns. Herbert is right behind him at 339 yards. Herbert was out at least 3 games. And then Johnson, our rookie, number 23, who I'm very impressed with, 238 yards. And then the rest, there's other people rushing, obviously. And so I told you what Justin had, 458. So we've got a solid rushing attack, and that's great, because that is just each week it helps your quarterback, it helps your offensive line, it helps your defense, because if you can keep getting first downs on rushing, you know what? It keeps them off the field, their offense off the field, and it keeps your defense off the field. And it's really important at the end of a game when you're trying to chew up the clock. And that really helped those Bears. Now, I also told you that Cleveland has a very solid rushing attack as well. And their 2 leading running backs are Ford. He's got 968 yards and 900. Wait a minute. Oh, my God. This pickled brain between everything that's gone on this week or in this last month with the drugs they're pumping into me, although I'm not really on the painkillers anymore, but my mind, pickled, old age. So Ford, let's back up. Their running back has 698 yards. I'm not sure if I said that right, but regardless, it gives you something to laugh at, right? I know. And he has 3 touchdowns. And then Hunt has 361 yards with 7 touchdowns. So they've got a very solid running attack as well. Now, passing, we know who our number 1 is, and that is DJ Moore. Right on. Another awesome pickup by Poles. He's got 1,071 yards to date with 7 touchdowns. Clement, who is in the top 3 of tight ends this season in the NFL. I love this guy. I love him more and more each game. He can catch. He can run routes. He can block. He's smart. He comes back with the quarterback needs to use him. If your quarterback is needing help, he's always aware of what's going on the field. I just love this guy. He's got 548 yards receiving in the air, 5 touchdowns. And Mr. Mooney, which I've heard some rumors that he's not happy with his role. Well, I think he's on his last year of his contract, which really sucks because I got his jersey, and I just don't think he's going to be on the team next year. I'd love him to be on the team, but I just don't think he will be. But he's got 395 yards with 1 touchdown. So we've got the receiving core, and then we use a lot of the other receivers. They've been putting in a lot of the younger receivers here and there, and they're going to start to build up. But these are the most notable out of our receivers and tight end. Their receivers, Ahmad Cooper is leading their team with 876 yards receiving in the air, passing yards, with 2 touchdowns. Noki, I know I'm saying it's wrong, but who cares? He has 600 yards in the air with 4 touchdowns, and Moore, not to be mistaken with our Moore. Moore has 543 yards with 1 touchdown. So we're even in a lot of categories. Now, defense, let's talk about that because they're killing us in one. The defense has got 21 sacks to date, and Cleveland has 38 sacks. I know. Our offensive line is going to have their hands full this week. I see our offensive line now that we're healthy again. We're playing again. The guys are playing every week together the last few weeks. That makes a huge difference, and that is something they did not have going into the season because we were right off the bat. Nate Davis didn't play for several games because after his mother passed away, and God bless Nate. And then there was some injuries. Patrick got hurt. Jenkins was hurt. Now we're in there and we've been playing games. So they've got to really buckle down because these guys got 38 sacks. And like I said, they are a good defense. They've got a good defensive line, and they're going to come after you. So this is where Fields, and I was just talking about him giving up those sacks, and they're on, 10 to 12 of them were on him. He's got to make decisions quicker. He's either got to throw that ball out of bounds or run. You know what? It's just like, okay, not there, go. He can't be, scaling the field. You can't expect an offensive line to hold these guys off too long. And, the responsibility is on Justin as well as the offensive line. He's got to do his part, and they'll do their part. And I feel in the last 4 to 5 games, the offensive line has really been playing well, and our sacks have been going down per game. Because he got a lot of those 32 sacks at the beginning of the season. But, again, not all on him. Not all on the offensive line. Justin has responsibility here, too. So the Bears' defense have 15 interceptions, which in the last 3 games has been so important. They have got, I think, in the last 3 games, 10 interceptions. And then Cleveland has 12 interceptions. The Bears had 14 forced fumbles, but only recovered 5 of them. Cleveland has 11 forced fumbles and received 8 of them, so they got 8 of them back. So Cleveland is, they don't have a quarterback now, so they got Joe Flacco, but they've got an awesome defense, and that's going to be the problem. I think this is going to be a defensive game on both sides, because you've got their very good defense, and you've got a defense who is really, the Bears, trying to find themselves, and they have found themselves, and they're starting to get into that rhythm. They're starting to get into that gel, and it all started, in my opinion, when Sweat joined the team in week 9. And he's got 3.5 sacks in 5 games with the Bears. So I'm digging it, and I hope he continues. Let's look at a little bit how much stuff has changed. So he joined the Bears in week 9, and the Bears ranked all right, wait a minute. This is not making sense. Oh, okay. So since he has joined the Bears, their defense has changed. Right now, up to this point, we are ranked fifth in total defense. We are ranked fifth in total in pass defense. We're ninth in allowing points scored, and we're tied second for total takeaways, 11. And this is obviously out there. But that's only since that's in the 5 games. This is what's happened since he's joined the team. We weren't fifth in anything prior to him. We were in the 20s. So in the defense ranks, total defense, fifth in the league. In the pass defense, again, fifth in the league. We are ninth in the league in scoring defense. And we are tied for second with the most 11. I said 10, 11 takeaways in the last 5 games. And that is since Sweet has joined this team. It's amazing how one player can change everything. And it's not like this guy is way better than everybody else on the defense and he's doing it. But what's happening is they're double teaming him, and that's opening up lanes for our other defensive linemen getting in there. And so they're starting to play together, and he's jacking these guys up. He's like, we can do this, and he's bringing juice to it. And they signed him to a long-term deal, so he's a Chicago Bear for a while, and I can see him being a captain on this team. But in 5 games, the Bears' defense went from anywhere in the 20s. I was going to put that down, and I did it. But it doesn't matter. I can tell you that all these categories, the total defense, pass defense, scoring defense, and particularly takeaways, the Bears were in the 20s or dead to last in some of these categories. And look at how they've turned it around in 5 games. And the turnovers are huge. I mean, it's incredible. And they've also made substantial gains in sacks since he came. They had 10 sacks in the past 4 games before he joined the team. They've had 10 sacks in the last 4 games since Sweat's been on the team. 10 sacks compared to 11 sacks in the first 9 games. So see what's happened in the last 4 and 5 games with Sweat. And it's just turned things around. I mean, to go from you've had 11 sacks in your first 9 games, and then the next 4 games you have 10, that's crazy. That is crazy, and it's awesome. And this guy is a force to be reckoned with, and he's picking up the whole defense. I do believe that. He's lifted everybody up and said, look what we can do as a team. And the defensive line was another thing. Like our offensive line, there was some injuries. There's some new guys on the team. So it took them longer to gel than I think we, for sure, as fans thought, and the Bears organization. I think they were a little worried about what they had drafted and what they had signed in the offseason. But they finally started to come together a little bit better. And then when they added Sweat, it turned it around. So this guy is just awesome. And so is our defense. I've always said, we've got a great backfield. That is just awesome. Brisker, Gordon, these guys are just turning into be solid guys back there. And JJ, we know, is really good. And the Bears, I saw rumors, I saw stuff online, which you can't believe any of the crap you read online. And it said they were going to sign him any day, and the deal was going to be done before we left for Cleveland tomorrow. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but the Bears really should sign him. They can't let another guy get away who's got talent. I'm sorry. You're trying to build a solid defense. You're going to have to pay for it because you got the talent. And speaking of that, I mentioned Brisker. This kid, I love him, number 9, his energy and his enthusiasm. And I've been reading how they say he's become a team leader in the locker room on year 2. That is just phenomenal for a guy in his 2nd year. He is all football, I hear. Everybody says all he does is live, breathe, and talk football, and he's so into it, and he loves being a Bear. As a matter of fact, Coach Flu said that usually a lot of times he stands next to Brisker when they do the national anthem and they hook arms, and he said, I can feel his energy through his body into mine. He's so into it. And this kid is really turning. He is always, if you watch that game, number 9 is everywhere all over that game. He is all over the field. What a great. Him and Gordon, and JJ back there and the other guys. I'm telling you, we got a solid backfield we don't got to worry about. And our defensive line coming around. Anaku, whatever his name is, Ngakoues. I can't pronounce names, so I'm just going to say Anaku's. He is out the rest of the year. He broke his ankle in the last 3 minutes of the game last Sunday, which was too bad because he was starting to get sacks too. He was starting, this young guy, making his name known, but he'll be back next year for sure. But so our defensive line is coming together. We've got a solid back line. Our linebackers make their presence known. They're not overly the top great, but they're solid. Edwards, and Sanborn. And Edmonds is leading the team. I wanted to say it was 117 sacks. He's leading the team in total sacks. And that's a homegrown boy from Lake Villa. Lake Villa. That's where I'm from, baby. I lived in Lake Villa 30-something years before I left and moved here to Vegas 6 years ago. So, but there's just a lot to be excited about after these last 4 games, because we should have beat Detroit the first time. We all know that. So I'm excited about it. Of course, people are like, oh, the Bears could go to the playoffs and this, that. Personally, I'm not a fan of skating into the playoffs by the hair on your chinny chin, and then you're one and done. Not my ball. It's not my thing. I don't want to see it. I mean, I'd love to see the Bears win all the rest of the games. I really would. I mean, some of these games are definitely beatable. I believe it's Cleveland, Arizona, Atlanta, and Green Bay. 2 are at home and 2 are away. So there's some winnable games here, guys. And the way the Bears are playing, if they can keep playing the way they have been. But the defense is going to be tested this week, of course, because they have a great running game. And we didn't do that great last week in the running game. So I'm a little worried about the run game. Let's see. I'd like to see them solid that up a little bit, firm that up. And then Fields. I believe that our offensive line, I told you they have 32 sacks, Cleveland. So there they come. Myles Garrett's on the leader on that team with probably the most sacks. They are a tough scene. I've watched Cleveland play. They never let down. They're going to come after him. And they know, they're studying Fields, and they know what he does good and what he doesn't do good. He doesn't make decisions quickly. He fumbles the ball. They're going to go after that. That's a big problem. And he just doesn't release that ball quickly enough. Of course, that's with the decision making. And each week he's got to get better. We've seen improvement. There's no doubt about it with Fields. But is it enough to keep him as our starting quarterback? I don't know. I've been up and down on this. I mean, since we've drafted him, I've always been on the fence. I've said it from day one. I'm not 100% sure I'm digging that draft. I wasn't sure about it because, Ohio State has a terrible track record with quarterbacks in the NFL. Of course, C.J. Stroud in Texas is proving that wrong. But, again, if you go back and look, you'll see what I mean. So, and, there's just these things. Can Fields overcome these problems? Is it all Fields? Is it Getsy? Noah Getsy? Don't I get it? We all know about that. Nobody likes Getsy. And I mentioned last week on the show that I think if the Bears keep winning, the Bears are going to bring back Coach Flus and we can forget about Harbaugh. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I wanted Harbaugh because I think he could turn a team around in a year or two like that. And I don't think the Bears are that far. I really don't. I think we're closer than we think they are now. And then we're going to have another good draft because we've got 2 first-round draft picks, which the Bears very possibly might trade that again to get some good people. We'll see. That's all next year's talk, right? So, but this year we want to, and then again, you got to finish the game. Last week and that game against Detroit in the fourth quarter, I was hearing what the players were saying, and everybody in that sideline kept saying, finish. We got to finish. And they did. They finished strong and decisively, and they stomped their foot and said, we're the Chicago Bears. Yeah! So I think this is a winnable game. I said I thought Detroit was a winnable game, and I was right about it. I don't like to predict, so you're not going to get that. My buddy on our show that we do Wednesdays, which we have not done the last month because I've been out recovering with this knee, and I think my buddy's a little relieved because he does so many damn shows. I think he does like 1 million shows a week on the Bears, and he's getting kind of tired of talking about them. So you're welcome, Dan. But he always makes me predict, and I don't like it. But I do say this is a winnable game. But... And, okay, oh, I almost forgot my threes. Oh, my God. You know I'm not on my game when I almost forget my threes. So if you watch me, I say this every week. The Bears, you got to win time of possession, turnovers, and penalties. Time of possession, come on, everybody. You know what I say. Time of possession huge, and the Bears whipped Detroit in that last week. And the thing is, it keeps your offense on the field. It keeps their defense on the field. It keeps their offense off the field and your offense off the field, or your defense off the field. And it's important to win that. Turnovers, huge. As we've noticed in the last 3 to 4 games, the difference the Bears have made in turnovers and what it's done. I mean, turnovers, obviously, it's a momentum builder. And then it deflates the other team. It can possibly give you some really good field position. It can stop the team from scoring, and it gives and then that boost goes to your team. And then your offense comes out and says, okay, now we're going to, what the defense just did for us, now we got to go score. So it just brings your team up, and everybody gets excited. Everybody loves a turnover, particularly interceptions. But what I'd like to see this week is a Bears interception for a touchdown. I haven't seen that one yet, so come on, Bears. But the Bears are going to have to do that. And then number 3, and my biggest bugaboo, you know it, penalties. I hate penalties. And the Bears last year were 3rd best in the league. This year they're at the bottom. 3 games ago they were at the bottom, at the worst team. I know they've come up a little bit, but penalties, you got 5 or less penalties is going to keep you in that game, and you have a chance to win it. So time of possession, turnovers, and penalties, you win these, you're so close to winning. If not, you've won the game, okay? But those penalties, they played a lot better last week, and you showed it. They've got to keep them down. And the majority of the penalties this year have come on the offense. So that means you're trying to score, you're trying to get yards, and the Bears do positive, and then they would back up. Positive, back up, and Bears aren't good enough to overcome these stupid-ass penalties, so they got to stop. And again, mostly on the offense, which is a big problem. So my threes, you win that. You won them all last week handily, and you won that game handily. I'm just saying. But the team has got to come in and play error-free football again. Not many penalties. Do not turn the ball over, Justin Fields. We need a solid performance by all of them because this is a better team. Although I think Detroit is better than Cleveland. But the thing is, Detroit's better than Cleveland. Detroit was better in offensively, but not defensively. That's Detroit's biggest problem right now going into the playoffs for them is their defense has got some issues, but not Cleveland. They've got a really, really good defense. And it's winnable, but I can also see them making a statement and making us look bad. I can. And I don't want that. That's why Justin Fields has got to continue to do what he's been doing the last couple of weeks. His head's in the game. Noah Getsy, better call some downfield passes again. Can't be doing every play, screen plays. You got to mix it up, my friend. But I want him to go anyways. So, I'm not a Getsy fan. I haven't been. Excuse me. So, it's simple. I mean, it really is. I think the Bears can win this game. I really, really do. But it's not going to be easy. No game in the NFL is easy. I don't care what the record is. Because, anyway, look what happened last night. Excuse me. With, they had 2 bad teams playing. San Diego Chargers, Las Vegas Raiders. And did you see that score? What was it, 60-something to 10? I don't know. But the Raiders, the Chargers kept turning over the ball. I don't know, they had at least 4 to 5 turnovers. You can't do that. And then they made the Raiders look like a good team. Well, The Chargers, they paid for it because today they fired their head coach, the Chargers, LA Chargers, and their GM, both gone. So you can't have it. And that was a but see, that just shows you that you never know what's going to happen on a Sunday with that game last night. Two bad teams, and look at how lopsided it was. I mean, it was terrible. I was like, who are these Raiders, So you just never know every Sunday. Anybody can beat you. I don't care who you are. I mean, ask New England. That one year they went 16-0. They won every game, and then they went to the playoffs, and they didn't win the Super Bowl. So I'm just saying. But Bears, no mistakes, solid. Everybody's head's in the game. We're going to win this game, and why not? And, if we don't, we still have some more winnable games because I believe Arizona and Atlanta are very winnable. And I would love nothing more than to beat Green Bay in Green Bay the last game of the season, especially if it meant they were going to the playoffs. I know. Keep our fingers crossed. Green Bay. Okay, that's all. Again, I apologize. I'm not these are my best shows. I'm still a little out of it. A lot going on with this leg and everything. But I appreciate you guys all watching. My heart is full, as it always is when I see the viewers. Still at 389 subscribers. I told you I want to get to 400, but you know what? If I don't, I don't really care because I don't want to beg for that because that's dumb. I do this because I love doing it, and I do it because my regulars watch me, and so many other people have been watching me, and I appreciate it. I really do. Again, my heart is full, and I love you all. And on that note, as I always sign off, be kind, stop hate. Let's rally around and do this together. Times are really tough in this country and all over the world. There's just so much hatred and bigotry going on, and I just don't understand it. I love people. I don't care what they look like. Short, tall, thin, fat, black, white, purple, pink. I don't care. I'm going to talk to you unless you're an asshole, right? But there's so many good people in this world. There's way more good people than assholes, that's for sure. So we've got to get rid of those and put those assholes back in the closet and lock those doors, right? And rally around and love one another. Everybody's in such a good mood. They're very generous this time of the year. And I was listening to some music, Christmas music yesterday, and Elvis's one of his songs came on, and it was about why can't we always be happy because it's Christmas time? Why can't we be like this all year round? And it's true. Why can't we? Why aren't people happy like this all year round? So for this announcer, this kooky little old 65-year-old lady here, and who's sitting here in her house in Las Vegas now after she left Illinois, huge Bears fan, but all I want is just everybody to be kind and love one another and stop war, right? And the thing is, Bears fans are tough boogers. So that's why we should all stick together and show what good people we really are. Because if we can love the Bears through the crap we've been through the last few years, we got to be some really awesome people, right? Right. All right, I love you all. I want to thank all my friends and family that have been supporting me through these last 4 weeks. Very much appreciated. Peggy, I love you. Again, Denise, I'm driving now. You're off the hook. And that's all. So, I will be back on Monday. Hopefully it'll be a victory Monday, and you know what that means. Then I'm going to have to sing the touchdown song again. I know. And it's a crappy song. But I'll sing it. So let's hope it's a victory Monday. We love the Bears. I love you guys. Finish up your shopping and enjoy the holidays. I'll see you Monday. Go Bears and bring us a victory Monday. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. Over and